Welcome back to the SanJW channel. And if you've wondered, yes, I have thought about maybe packing this video in for this week, but no, you got to take the rough with the smooth. Before we get into the match overview of what we saw on Saturday, I want to say a massive thank you for all the support on the first two videos from last week. The support's been amazing. If I could ask those of you that have not already, please do subscribe. It really helps out the channel, kind of get our reach out there. But I guess, yeah, we have to talk about Ashton Gate, don't we? So, Oxford United 1, Bristol City 2. Yes, this is a result that's going to hurt for a long time. And the fact of the matter is that, the overall stats, as we'll see in a minute, show that maybe we shouldn't have won this game. And I don't think we should have. But I also don't think we should have lost it. I think it's a very similar situation to the Coventry game. But again, we'll get on to more of that in a minute. If we look at the lineups, obviously the forced alteration from the win over Stoke, that being Cameron Brannagan out, incoming Ruben Rodriguez. Other than that, the system remained the same, and we started decent. Obviously, what Ruben gives you is that extra ability on the ball, that extra playmaking ability that Cameron doesn't necessarily give you. And pairing him with Idris El-Mazouni, I thought looked really good for the vast majority of the game. So obviously, this was a very heated game for the fans' point of view, and more so kind of for Ox fans and Bristol fans, because it very much is a case of they don't really care about any kind of shit that we've had with with our ex-manager or ex-players, whereas we were very fired up. Obviously that away end was sensational, and I will come back to talk about the supporters because I've got a few thoughts on that. They lined up very similar, expected for two managers for whom the fundamentals of their game are very similar. The only difference is that Des utilises his wingers a lot more than Liam Manning, who prefers to play through the centre. So obviously this is, you saw a little on the momentum chart earlier, this looks like a bit of a pasting, but if we delve a bit deeper into some of these stats, they're not really. Obviously they had the better of the ball. It was 56% possession either way in the first half. For Bristol City, they had more shots and were slightly better with the ball. However, the thing you will notice, and we'll go through this fully in a minute, is although they had 10 shots with 3 on target with 3 big chances missed, the expected goals on them is super low, which means that the quality of the chance isn't that high actually. But again, we'll go through that in a minute. It started, obviously we came flying at the blocks, a lot of pressure being applied by Bristol City early on, and Jamie Cumming doing sensational, Elliot Moore struggling with the pace that we were being threatened with from Sinclair Armstrong, from Scott Twine, from Max Bird, and whoever else they had out on the wing. We were being caused a lot of problems in those areas, and Elliot Moore, that's his only real weakness, is that he's not quick, so he gets beaten in those situations a lot. But obviously we start to kind of build back into the game about the 20-minute mark. Siriki Dembele, as he'd done 1 or 2 times previously, cutting on his right foot, drifting forward, takes a shot, takes a massive deflection, and Ruben Rodriguez makes the run, latches onto it and puts it past O'Leary, I believe it was, in the Bristol City goal to send the away end absolutely balmy, literally falling over each other. And it was, from an Oxford point of view, it couldn't have been more perfect player. Ruben Rodriguez, the whole did Liam Manning leave poll he put on Instagram after the sneaky gaffer left. But yeah, perfect. And Ruben's celebration looked like he really enjoyed that goal. In terms of the rest of that half, Bristol kept piling on the pressure, kept trying to get that equaliser. But Siriki Dembele had a wonderful chance on the right hand side, pings it, and just off the crossbar, Illyria was helplessly diving and was very, very lucky. Second half, we come out the blocks absolutely flying, and there's a golden opportunity that Mark Harris has where the ball's fizzed across the front of the goal by, I believe it's Ruben Rodriguez again, and Harris just misses it. And it's one of those things that, you know, in these tight games, you can't afford to allow to slip, but we did. Shortly after, Bristol got the other end. Sinclair Armstrong scores after Will Volks and I believe it was Idris El Mazouni. Neither one picks up their man, and he's got three players around. None of them go close to him, and he slots it home for an equaliser, and that takes any sting Oxford really had out of the attack, and it took the wind out of us for a little bit in the away end. And then I believe a very, very soft penalty. Look, I obviously in the ground, when you complete other side of the stadium to where the penalty happens, it didn't look anywhere near a penalty to us. I've seen the replay back. I've slowed it down, frame by frame to try and pinpoint. I think it's soft. It looks like there's a slight tap on the foot of whichever Bristol City player goes down, like a sack of spuds. After Mark Harris, like I say, it's a very slight touch on his foot from Mark Harris, and it goes down. Ref thinks about it for a good long while, then awards a penalty. And it's a close one, but Naki Wells just puts it past Jamie Cumming to make it 2-1 to Bristol City. We had a couple more chances in that second half to try and get an equaliser ourselves, but it just wasn't coming. Bristol City set up super compact, and it just didn't look like we were going to equalise at that point. And it's a really crushing defeat. Another game much like Blackburn, where we go from 1-0 up to losing it 2-1. We are still without a point on the road. The only thing keeping us in this 8th or 9th is our home form. 3 wins, 3 losses, same results as Derby County. And yeah, it just, as you can probably tell, it took the wind out of us. It's another one like Coventry that's going to hurt for quite a bit. But like I say, I want to go into the actual shots, because the reality is, if you look at it, Bristol City fans will say, they peppered us, they should have won by a landslide. But really, if you look at their overall expected goals, right? So 2.32 XG, 0.79 of that comes from the penalty from Naki Wells. It's an incredible thing to miss a penalty. They are almost certain goals in modern football. So that that's without saying. For us, 9.4 of this XG comes from Mark Harris's miss. So if you go through, just cycle through to the first shot, so you see 0.7 off Roberts' chance, 0.24, that's their highest before Sinclair Armstrong's goal, and that's a header that goes over the bar. Was something I think that loops over the bar again for a second one. Another one over the bar. Then Marshall, very tame save from Jamie Cumming. Sinclair Armstrong it's one of those where he's in on goal, he's tried to turn himself to kind of curl it around Jamie Cumming, he's not done it enough, and it just goes a couple of inches wide. But even that is on a 1.2 or 0.12 XG. Then we come to Goodrum's, 0.28 on Oxford's first shot of the game. And it was a okay chance for Tyler Goodrum. Curran has done a lot better. But that was our first chance, and it was a higher quality chance than the majority of Bristol's up to that point. And then we come to another 0.08, which is again saved by Jamie Cumming. Another one, a much smaller chance, 0.08. Then we come to Ruben Rodriguez's goal, a 0.39 expected goals. Like I say, deflection takes it up in the air. Rodriguez is latched onto it. O'Leary thinks the Bristol City goalkeeper just doesn't switch on, and Rodriguez fires it into the roof of the net. Scott Twine 0.04. This is when Bristol City were piling on the pressure, just taking shots, and you know, they weren't really troubling Jamie Cumming. Harris has a decent effort, but again, it's a very, very routine save for O'Leary. Then one over the bar from Jason Knight. You know, a fair number of these headers were just not good enough from Bristol City point of view. As you can see, there's a 0.11, a 0.02. You know, this is not indicative of a side that battered us. Dembele's from range, it's obviously, that's about what 30, 35 yards out. He takes it, it loops in the air. Like I say, the crossbar saves Bristol City in that instance. And then we get to the second half, another wild shot over the bar from Scott Twine. Then Sinclair Armstrong has a near effort, 0.07. Will Volks with a wild shot, which is, he was shooting from range at this point. I don't know why he was doing it. This is the pivotal one where if Mark Harris scores this, I think the game is put to bed. I think Bristol City end up losing the game. 0.94, he's right on the goal. Ball is fizzed across, like I said, I think from Ruben Rodriguez. And Zarigan Dembele has to kind of recycle it and try and you know, create another opportunity for us. That's a golden opportunity that we've missed. It's so close. You know, he missed it by literally millimeters, and that, like I say, you know, that is the best chance of the game. That's the highest XG of the game. The best opportunity of anybody had in this game was from Mike Harris from that area. Then Sinclair Armstrong scores, like I say, no one's picking him up. Greg Lee sticks with his man like he's meant to do. Ball comes across and El Mazzuni and Volks, no one picks him up, and Armstrong slots it in home over the bar. So you can see, like, I'm not going to go through every single one, but it's just how many, you know, not very good chances Bristol City had. It's contributed out in 19 total shots, just 6 on target. And like I say, a 0.79 XG for Naki Wells' penalty. They are insane XG penalties. I'm surprised that they're, you know, 0.79 XG. I'm surprised they're that low, because the percentage you see missed or saved is incredibly low. And yeah, obviously this is when we're just trying to pile on pressure, and again, neither side is able to create much of any real quality. From an Oxford point of view, obviously more injury news. We've got another one. Josh McEachran goes off on the 45th minute, and that introduces Will Volks. We also saw Dane Scarlett come on for, I believe it was Ruben Rodriguez, and then Malcolm Ebui came on for Tyler Goodrum. Another midfield injury. It's been confirmed that Cameron Brannagan is going to miss at least the rest of October. It's a massive blow. Thankfully, obviously, we've got Volks, we've got El Mazzuni, we've got Louis Sibley, we've got Rodriguez, we've got Tyler Goodrum, who can step in, and hopefully some of the wingers, like obviously we saw Kyle Edwards come on as well. He was another one that it was great to see him back on the pitch for Oxford. He looked refreshed, he looked determined to kind of get a goal or to be involved, and he did. I thought he looked pretty decent. But you know, we've got some of those fresh legs in wingers coming back, so we can move Tyler into that 10 role and go from there. But like I say, we're just not getting any luck with injuries. Same as last season, we had a metric crap ton of injuries for some areas. I don't know what football deity Oxford United has hacked off, but evidently it's taking a real toll. Like I said, I want to touch on each team's respective fan base. So this is my first time at Ashton Gate, and I think there might be, like, Bristol City fans can tell me difference if there's any watching this. There is a serious acoustics issue at Ashton Gate. So we couldn't hear the Bristol City fans, and there was a lot, obviously, you know, packed out away in, you know, 3,600 Oxford United fans. We couldn't hear any Bristol City fans until they equalised. Couldn't hear a thing. And like I said, whether that was kind of they weren't up for it, whether they kind of were very, you know, I don't know what, or it was, like I say, it might be an acoustics problem at Ashton Gate. I'll leave that for Bristol City fans to explain to me. because, like I say, I didn't hear them. Obviously, we were making noise for the vast majority. Like I say, that their equaliser kind of took the sting out of us. We didn't really. I can tell you for damn sure we were trying. There was a lot of us, in that kind of central area, trying after the goal goes in to kind of get the boys back in it. But by that point, we've been knocked. The players have been knocked, and obviously they go and get the second off the penalty. From that point, we start to hear a little bit more from Bristol City fans, and then they completely just, again, I didn't hear anything after the penalty goes in. Like I said, I will put them on the air whether it's an acoustics issue, whether it's just Bristol City fans weren't up for it. I'm not entirely sure. What I will say is amazing showing from both fans in terms of paying respect. Obviously, Oxford, we were paying respect to Jake Badger, who had sadly passed away at 24 years old. A local, he was an Oxford fan, Aberdeen United player, and like I say, tragic for a lad just 24 years old to pass away. And it was 24th minute, obviously, for his age, but we kept it going for another 2 minutes. And then Bristol City fans also had some, I think it was like 60th minute, had a big display in their little ultras corner for a member. I don't know if it was a former player or a fan that passed away, which I remember it was R.I.P. Jazz, whoever that is, rest in peace. What I will say on that is it was disappointing that neither set of fans really in significant numbers went along with the tributes. There were a couple of us in the Oxford end that spotted the RIP Jazz thing and kind of got everyone else to shut up and clap along. I think there were one or two in the stand close, I think on our right hand side during Jack Badger's tribute that got involved, and we thank him for that. But like I say, I could put it down to just a lack of communication, but I know for a fact that from our end there was tweets going out to Bristol City fans that have been retweeted by Oxford United Football Club to get involved in the tribute. Like I say, maybe a lack of communication from either club, that we didn't see anything from Bristol City fans. It's just one of those things. It was disappointing not to see both sets of fans get involved with those tributes. And overall, like I say, it's a really disappointing loss for Oxford. Might very well be the only game we play against Liam Manning, because even with the win on Saturday, if he goes and loses his next couple of games, he's going to be out of a job. So it's really disappointing from that perspective. Like I say, I didn't think we should have won that game. Absolutely not. We didn't create the level of opportunities really. Even like I say, even Rodriguez is a bit of it's Dembele takes shot and it comes off a deflection. But Mark Harris' goal, say that goes in and they score the penalty, it's 1-1. I think that's a more fair result. But like I say, it's really disappointing that we're still without a point on the road. Obviously, we face Burnley at Grenoble Road on Saturday. And look, to any Burnley fans watching, I will say, yes, you will go in as favourites, but don't underestimate Oxford United at home. This side is a different beast at Grenoble Road for the most part. Norwich, Preston and Stoke all have gone into that game thinking, that they were going to whoop us, they were going to just drive through us, but they didn't, because at Grenoble Road we were a completely different animal. Obviously, a couple of days for Des and the players to get things sorted out. It's going to be a really important couple of days to get things sorted, because obviously we've now got a limited number of midfielders, and we need to, I'm not going to blame Harris. 4 goals in 4 championship games and then doesn't score against Stoke, and then doesn't score that gilt-edged chance against Bristol. But we do need to be more clinical. There are, again, a couple of chances, even against Stoke, we could have expanded our lead in that game, but we didn't. But yeah, like I said, just disappointing, because overall this was a game that obviously we were massively up for, all the players were massively up for, and to have another loss away from home is just disappointing, because I'm not saying, you know, this could end up being the thing that maybe push us lower towards the bottom of the league, because that would be, you know, not picking up points against the sides around us in the survival race. But, you know, it's at this point in the season when we really need to be taking advantage of the fact that sides don't really know how we play yet, and it'll come around November to January is when that will start to tick over, when more sides will be playing, sides we've already played for the second time, or it will be a case of more extensive scouting opportunities for these opposition sides. So we've got to be picking up points now. But let me know your thoughts on the loss to Bristol City in the comments down below. And like I say, a massive thank you for all the support on the first two videos on this channel. I will see you for a post-match thought on the game against Burnley. Please tell me we can get our 4th win of the campaign. Thank you very much. See you later.